Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, friends, colleagues, and listeners. And as always, any new listeners, great to have you on board. Our guest list is enhanced even more by today's guest, a very energetic business person, and you're going to meet Leona Key, who's the president of VistaJet US. So, Leona, absolute pleasure to have you on board, and thanks for talking to us from New York.
Hi, Chris. Good morning. How are you? Very excited to be here.
Very good, very good. Hope you feel the same way by the end of it, Leona.
I'm sure I will.
Yeah, good. So firstly, Leona, if you wouldn't mind, if you could just give our listeners a little bit of background just about yourself and what your accountabilities are within VistaJet.
Sure. I am the president of VistaJet US. I'm looking after all the sales activities here, top line, bottom line for our program, the flagship program, which is a subscription model for our team. Looking over the Soho office, which we have in New York, we have about 60 very, very energetic and hardworking employees. Most importantly, though, I'm looking after all our clients in the United States, and which we really appreciate the loyalty and support to VistaJet, and we're really enjoying flying them on our fleet.
Brilliant. That's good. That's very good. Now, you joined in 2016. And you had dual roles, so you were looking after the Asia Pacific as well as the US. So big task. Now, can you just give us an idea of the size of the fleet and also the numbers of hours or customers that you generate a year?
Of course. So our entire fleet for VistaJet, as of today, we have 74 aircrafts. So our entire fleet is Bombardier products, from Challenger 350 all the way up to Global 7500, which currently we have one we received in March. And our fleet, other than that, we have everything else in between. We have Challenger 350, 605, 850, and Global 5000 and Global 6000. Our business has always been global since our chairman founded the company 16 years ago. We cover our international clientele. So we have a pretty even distribution, I would say, within North America region, European region, and Asia Pacific region for our clientele, because what we promise our clients is that we take our members from point A to point B anywhere in the world with a fixed hourly rate, and there's no positioning fee. So they're getting charged the occupied hourly rate only. We're the only operator that can say that in the world. So you're going from Hong Kong, go ahead.
No, it's okay. I was just saying, yes, no positioning yet.
No, we abolished the positioning fee or deadhead, whatever you want to call it, back in 2016. Was very much welcomed by all our customers. I wouldn't say so much welcomed by our competitors. We fly from, for example, Hong Kong to London, and you fly from London to New York, New York to LA, Hong Kong to Tokyo on our global aircraft. You will be able to enjoy the same fixed hourly rate, and again, it's for occupied hours only.
Okay, not being a frequent private jet flyer myself, I would imagine that's very, very agreeable and acceptable.
It's great for our customer base. Half of them are ultra high net worth individuals. The other half are corporations, multinational corporations. It's a great tool for, that's why it's called business jet. It's a great tool for people to travel for business, and it's a time machine to save time. But most importantly, especially for corporations and individuals alike, when you use our product, it's very easy to forecast your cash flows, because you can say, I want to fly. I'm a person that flies 200 hours a year, and I'm flying on this aircraft type. Now, with our subscription model, you purchase the hours you need with hourly rate. You can look at your cash flow for the next 3 years. So there's no asset risk and there's no hidden cost.
Okay, that's fantastic. And like you said, the most important things for people at the moment is their time, and obviously the transparency of cost, and then the flexibility and location.
Exactly. Flexibility and location, exactly, especially during the current time.
Yeah, no, exactly. Yeah, so we're using the word exactly again. But now you also, one of your tags is flying private made simple.
Yes, so that was I think I covered that a little bit. we're making, because in the past where, before, I think the VistaJet model is really a disruptor to the market. In the past, if you want to have guaranteed availability on an aircraft and have all the flexibility of ownership, the comforts of inside the cabin, the service, your preference, you book the aircraft, is guaranteed, you cancel, there's no charge fee. You need to own an aircraft. You will own your own aircraft, or you can obviously buy into hot portion of the aircraft, which is the fractional ownership. And with both of the model, it comes with asset risk. So it's not very simple. I used to finance private aircraft for a living before I joined VistaJet. So the financing element of it is I'm sure you talk to a lot of people in the industry. The depreciation of the aircraft is difficult to forecast, especially, we have financial downturns, and, currently we have a health crisis. In a lot of times during these times, the aircraft depreciates more, and then there's, different models. So it's just hard to forecast. Where with the VistaJet model is you look at it, you know your hourly rate, you know your cost, you can forecast your cash flow. All you need to do is to let us know how many hours you need, and then you're good to go. So we're taking away the elements of the asset risks from our customers, and at the same time provide them the flexibility and comforts of a flying private.
Okay, which is, yeah, and that makes an awful lot of sense. Now, one of the things that we've covered in the parties from the private jet aviation sector is about success and about people's perception of private jet aviation. And I think it's so important to put across so many positives about it, because in fact, one colleague said, you should not be ashamed of success. And you mentioned about high worth individuals and corporations. The amount of time that can be saved from a top executive on private aviation can be anything from 35 to 55, maybe even above hours per year. Now, on top of that, you've also got the confidentiality on the aircraft, so that the actual business and the productivity can continue throughout the journey, as well as the hours that are saved. And I think it's so important that the more successful organizations are now, especially during this pandemic, the better it is for everybody, because the more success and the more business that's taking place provides work, provides careers and options for everybody else. So, I think it's a hugely positive part of the aviation sector.
I completely agree with you. I think for a person that flies private in the United States and in Europe, very much alike. For example, in the United States, there's about 4,000 airports that can be accessed via business jets, where the number for commercial airlines is only about less than 400 of them. So that's less than 10%. And during this crisis, for example, lots of commercial airlines are also cutting their routes to specific airports. Now, if you really need to go there to conduct business and to provide employment for the general population, you need to transfer maybe twice or sometimes even 3 times to just get to your destination. But where business jet can provide point-to-point access. And for Europe, the number is very similar. It's about 3,000 versus 300 airports. And in the broader market, in Asia Pacific market, for example, the airports are still being built, the airline business are growing. The case is really a time machine. Statistically, like you mentioned, for an executive, they save about 30 to 55 hours. So in my old days, I was financing aircraft. So you save about 20% of your time. So for example, you're an executive, you're flying 400 hours a year. You'll be able to save 80 hours a year while you're flying private. Now that's 80 hours of your time you can, spend in the boardroom with your executives, or you can spend with your family. And most importantly, while you are flying private, there's the confidentiality and there's the privacy, and there's no disruption to your daily life from the ground to the sky. While you're flying, you can conduct conference calls. All our aircraft is outfitted with Wi-Fi, high-speed Wi-Fi. You can conduct your conference calls. You have your executives with you. You can do board meetings. You can do presentation, and or you can prepare for a meeting. And when you arrive in the destination, you can hit the ground running immediately. And I think during this health crisis, what's very important to notice is that it's not only just about efficiency now, it's also about the safety and health of who's flying. While you're flying private, the touch point at FBO from you arrive to you take off is less than 20. While you're flying commercial, even if you're flying first class, you go through a commercial terminal, you board the aircraft, your touch point is close to 700. So it's 20 versus 700. It's a much, much safer way to travel.
And that's an incredible statistic. The first time I heard that, I was trying to think to myself, how can I have 700 touch points? But when you start to think about it and you break it down, I mean, it's a huge amount. So that's a big consideration for a lot of people now when they're weighing up their risk. Another positive on the private aviation, which I asked you earlier, is about the humanitarian and the support that you gave during the initial outbreak of the pandemic. You want to just cover some of the things that you did there, because I think it's important for people to know that.
Of course, thank you. And we're very proud of that. It was on our website. It was a big efforts from VistaJet during the early of the pandemic, especially when it hits the Western world, the United States, to Europe. We were doing a lot of repatriation flights already for our customer base itself, to bring people to their loved ones, so wherever their safe place might be for them. And as borders start to get closed, our team, our operation team, worked tirelessly for each route and each destination to get a permits to make sure that people can get there. And especially we also transported some patients that need to get back to their home country where they can receive necessary medical treatment, not only just for COVID, but people with other health conditions, old people and kids. Almost, I would say, in March, every single flight, there's an incredible story, and we're very, very grateful that we could be part of that effort, and we've seen that happening. And we have some clients there involved in fighting with the pandemic. We're helping them with the drugs to fight this disease. And also, most importantly, while we're flying, we do have empty legs. VistaJet donated all our empty legs to different governments around the world. When a government needs to repatriate their citizens and to transport PPE, if there's an empty leg as a government, you can jump on those for free. So we're very, very honored that we were part of that effort.
And I think that's exceptional. And unfortunately, in today's society, those positives are so often left out of general media. And if so many more positive stories and positive approaches were covered, I know it's a sad thing as well. Positivity doesn't really sell well, but people love to hear the bad stories and the negative. I don't know why. But if there was a lot more positivity, I think it would make people feel a lot better as well. So I think well done to you. Brilliant. Now, you mentioned about flying private made simple. And I think your website, I've got to say, is very, very easy to navigate. It's very direct. I really like it. And one of the things that I'd like to touch on, and you covered it briefly there, is all of the activities that you've done so far with regards to the dedicated safety, but the coronavirus measures. Can we just go through those as well? So, you've got the crew now, they're all masked. You've made it very clear about how important it is to have masks on, etc. Do you want to just cover some of the main criteria that you've introduced prior to the flights, on board, and obviously with your partners, and then with the sanitization?
Of course. So we started our procedure actually back in January, end of January. Again, we're global aviation. For our Hong Kong, Asia Pacific based clients, it was started from January. So we will always take safety very, very, is our top priority for our customers and our crew. And now during this crisis is especially important. We take additional measures to ensure everyone's safety and health. So what we do is that all our crew, they're wearing masks, and also they're wearing gloves while they're on board and pre-boarding. And our procedure was always pre-COVID. we always do a meet and greets at FBO for our customers. They feel welcome. And now there's, because we're practicing social distancing, so there's no handshake, but they still greet them. It's just they stand down the stairs. And our customers also, before they fly, they need to fill out a health declaration form and also a locator where they were, and to make sure that our crew is protected and they're healthy. Obviously, when you go to different destinations, some destinations will require that you provide a negative COVID test. So that is our job as a company, and to let our customers know what is needed. So we make sure everything is prepared before they board a flight. And our crew is also get tested their temperature twice a day. If there's any symptoms at all, they're immediately put out of service. And most importantly, while they're on board, they're wearing, like I mentioned, they're wearing all the gloves and also the mask. And we have VistaJet, we're proud of our service in cabin experience. The nice china, the Christoph we use, and all our service, we always do a formal service if you choose to do dinner service. But nowadays we give people a choice. If you would rather have a speedy service where we could give you plastic cutlery, etc., so that there's to minimize the contacts. Obviously, some of our customers would still prefer a formal service, so we would do it, but then they're always wearing masks, etc. Just like nowadays when you need to go to a restaurant in New York. And also we're in communication daily with MedAir and WHO to get all the updates geographically and also how the disease is being spread, just to make sure we're staying on top of the line where we can fly to, where is considered a high-risk zone. And our aircraft is sanitized and cleaned after every single flight. And about every 5 days, and periodically we also clean our aircraft to disinfect it with a very special disinfectant that can last up to 10 days to make sure the surface of all the aircraft touch is virus-free.
That's incredible, the amount of effort that goes into it. And you also have onboard medical safety support as well for the passengers.
We do, yes.
Which is...
And go ahead.
Yeah, no, carry on.
So the onboard medical support, we've always have it on board even before COVID. And nowadays we added, there's other equipment. So, we could test passengers' oxygen level, because research, you see research is showing when people they need ventilator is way too late, their oxygen level has dropped way before that. So we have those kind of equipments, but our onboard support, the medical kit is there. And also we have MedAir. If there's any emergency, we'll call them satellite phone while even in flight.
That's amazing. That's really, really good. Now, with that safety element, and you also do checks on the passengers as well, so you make sure that they're also free and that they're being checked, which is great. Now, with that care and attention that goes into that, and also with the products, I'm pretty sure now there are a lot of people who used to travel quite extensively. They're now considering fewer trips, but longer or more exclusive trips. So there's a bigger market potentially coming who would previously never have thought that private aviation might be an opportunity for them. So now you've got the dynamic jet lease, and you've also got the standard program. Can you just explain a little bit about those and the differences?
Of course, our standard program is a subscription model. Like I mentioned, it's a 3-year program. You subscribe to the number of hours you need per year. And then you will be on the program for 3 years. That's for people flying 50 hours or above, anywhere between that. It could be 50 hours, 1,000 hours, or 2,000 hours a year. For some corporations, they have concurrent usage, multiple lead passengers, so they might need 1,000 hours. Where the dynamic lease is really a product that we're all about innovation and also to see where the market needs is. The dynamic lease is a product that we pushed out for during this pandemic. Is for people and corporations that during this time that need to travel. So they could be, for example, a medical equipment company that they need to travel. They need to fly daily or every other day, and they want a dedicated aircraft, and they're flying 50 hours at a minimum a month. So usually for any company, if you want to get an aircraft lease, the lease would be at least usually 5-year time. So that's how aircraft lease works, because you will lease the entire aircraft.
Yep.
It's almost like as if you own it, right? So we offer this dynamic lease, which is anywhere between 1 to 3 months. So to help people that who really in need of a whole aircraft during this specific time.
Okay, which is again, it's a great option. Now, are you seeing a lot more interest from individuals and companies as a result of what's been going on, and also the confusion now about the various travel corridors, and then short-term cancellations, and the amount of schedule publications, and then consolidations and problems with the normal carriers? Are you seeing a huge amount of increase now as a result?
So we have actually for private aviation, I think we're like any other company. We actually have a huge influx of sales inquiries and our product inquiries, and 70% of those inquiries are for people that never flown private before. They never flown private before, and they can afford it, and now they definitely want to look into it. I think there's a report, it's by McKinsey, the consulting company. They said that pre-COVID, only 10% of the people that could afford flying private that were flying private. Now, after the pandemic's happening, a lot of people, those 90%, are thinking now they really want to take another hard look at flying private. And we also, there's another trend that we at VistaJet specifically we're seeing is that, because again, we have customers, a lot of our customers before, they use a mix of method. They would fly private to certain routes, and they would do a first class for certain routes, especially for long haul. Like if they want to fly from New York to Dubai, which is 13 hours, they do the first class. And now a lot of those customers, they want to increase these hours because they want to fly privately exclusively. So there's two trends. One is the people that never fly private, or they were just chartering before, maybe once or twice a year. They want to have a more consistent solution. And the second trend is for customers that are flying private already as part of their aviation solution. Now they want to look into it to fly private exclusively.
Okay, which makes perfect sense. And also for those that do, the configuration of your aircraft, especially the long haul, and the fact that you're the 7500, the one that you've got already, but that's ahead of the market now, isn't it? So it's a market leader, and it will be for at least a year or so.
Exactly. So that aircraft is a super long range, so it can fly. It broke many records in its test flights. I think Bombardier did a really good job there, and it can fly amazing city pairs, like for example, Hong Kong and New York nonstop, Dubai, New York. I think it broke the record to fly from Sydney to Detroit. That aircraft is a 4-zone cabin, has a permanent stateroom, and then there's another 3 zones, depends on, as an owner or for us, how you configure it. And up front, you can have a 6-people dining area, or you can set up as a conference room. Most importantly, there's a lot of very, very new technology going into that aircraft. For example, there's the groundbreaking lighting design and the seat reclining design, specifically designed to combat jet lag. So that will reduce the effect of jet lag. When you fly that long haul, you land, you will feel refreshed to go about your day and conduct business.
Fantastic. And also it's got a fixed bedroom as well.
Yes, it's a permanent stateroom at the very back. It's basically a Global 6000. It's a 3-zone cabin where the aircraft ends. The 7500 have another bedroom, have another cabin. Okay,
right, very good. I will consider that on my next plan for a vacation.
Oh, that sounds great. Can fly you to Fiji.
Yeah, cool. Tell me about it. That would be brilliant. So, Leona, it's great touching on all the innovations and technology improvements. And now with this COVID-19, this damn virus, what do you see as the challenges and the opportunities for the private aviation, and especially your business in particular?
Of course, I think I'll talk about the challenges first. We're very much facing the same challenges as commercial airlines in terms of the restrictions in different borders. There's borders are closing. Different countries, even in the United States, different states have different rules. When you land, you need to, for example, get quarantined, get tested, or present a negative test, and what is the time frame. And when you travel abroad as Americans, for example, you need specific paperwork, visa status, or invitation letter. So I think that's definitely a challenge, but our team, again, we have a very experienced international team. We're there every step of the way to help our customers to make sure that we can still take them to destinations they need to go to. And the opportunities for private aviation is actually huge. I think what's interesting about this crisis is that compared to the past crisis that we faced, you know, like 2000 or 2008, the Great Depression, where we have is that a lot of those crises are financially triggered. So, and during those crises, the private aviation industry is the first one to go, and usually it's the last one to bounce back. And however, this one is health-triggered crisis. We have a global health crisis, and during this crisis, we're seeing a surge, a huge surge, in terms of people's need and interest in private aviation, given everything else is going on. And it's great news for our industry. At the same time, it's also, I think, like you mentioned briefly, where what the business or private aviation is providing for the society and also for its passengers was really overlooked by I would say a broader audience, where this is not just a rich people's toy that to fly. It's very much a business tool. It helps people to, it's the safest and most secure way to fly. The confidentiality, the privacy that it provides, and most importantly now, the safety and health that can actually provide for its passengers to take them to the destinations they absolutely need to go to. And we're riding this trend. We're signing, you know, from a sales perspective, we're looking at our sales, where our sales are up compared to 2019, month to month, up to now. And our flight traffic is up to almost 100% compared to 2019 as of July. So we'll see, I think, in the long run, if we keep this trend going, but it's definitely, I think, it's a great opportunity for private aviation, and also with all the humanitarian effort that we're doing and other operators are doing, our colleagues are doing, it's a testament to you know, to the broader audience that what the private aviation industry providing to the society.
I agree with you, and that ethical balance is something that should be promoted and informed and communicated much more. Now, another area, and I'm not an expert by any means, but I'm seeing, and I'm a big believer in you know, data decision making, and that's what drives it. There's definitely going to be a second wave. There's definitely going to be a bad winter ahead, and anybody that needs to keep the wheels of business moving, they're going to have to consider private aviation and everything, especially when you talk about the touch points of from 700 down to 20 plus. But that second wave is going to require an awful lot more support from everybody, understanding, and also collaboration and cooperation. And I think airports are also now considering private aviation a lot stronger than they ever were before, because of the slot issue, and also now wanting to make sure that people can come to the main hubs. Are you finding that there's also a more receptive approach from airports?
I think from general, you know, from commercial airports, terminals, in general, there is always driven by supply and demand, right? So as a private jet, can you land at JFK? Can you get a permit? Can you land there? I think it's always driven by that. And now during this time, the commercial traffic is down. We obviously seeing that it's a lot easier and to apply for permits, and even in a lot of the slot and permit restricted airports such as Hong Kong, in the past it's very difficult to get the exact slot you want, and now obviously because all the traffic are down, so there's just more space that we can, you know, apply for slots, and we usually get them, and nowadays it's a lot easier. But I do see that when commercial aviation traffic come back, private jets will be from the commercial terminal. We would again go to the back of the line, which is understandable because again, there are not many airports around the world that can land commercial jetliners because they're so much bigger. Where private jets are much more nimble, so we can land in other FBO and airports are dedicated to private jets.
Yeah, and we've had FBO owners on as well about how how the quality is improving, and it's almost like a 5-star hotel now in many of them.
The FBOs, a lot of them are. I've seen some really extravagant ones. I think I think the one I was very, very impressed. It was the one in Dubai, the Al Maktoum.
Yes, yes.
The terminal was very, very luxurious. You land there. I think it's a Bentley that picks you up from your airplane to the FBO, and you go in. There is there's a pod that you can take a nap. There's a massage room. There's it's very, very nice and luxurious.
Yeah, it's beautiful. Yeah, Adele will be very pleased with that reference and that mention.
Yeah, I hope so. But I remember when I landed there, I went into the FBO. I was very impressed.
Yeah. No, he will do. He's a man who focuses on attention to detail, and quite rightly so. Now, one other point I'd just like to bring up as well, which is about the environmental impact, and people are also somewhat misguided by what they hear. So if you can just let people know how it works and what the impact is from your own organization.
Of course, I think we live in the world nowadays. I think we all need to contribute to the environment and also the globe. As we can see with COVID-19, we only have one Earth. We need to protect it, and it's a big effort always by VistaJet. Our chief commercial officer actually also talked about it Davos this year, the beginning of the year. We have always been very committed to this effort, given that our fleet is very, very young, is new in the sky, so that already reduced the carbon emission, and also from I think it's 3 years ago, we collaborated with different projects around the world. There's one in Taiwan and one in Indonesia, for example. These different charity organizations, they're environmental organizations, so we donate each flight. So our customers, there's a carbon offset credit. Our clients, when they fly, they will have that credit, and it will donate all of that to these 5 charity organizations around the world. To combat carbon issues and carbon footprint. And every year, Christmas and New Year, we have a nice card for each of our clients and tell them specifically, this year you fly this much with us, and here's your credit to how many trees you saved. And our clients really appreciate that because they receive this nice card from us, and they know for this year they flew private how many trees they've saved, and water also. So it's some effort that we're doing, and we're aiming to be carbon neutral. I think by the end of next year. I need to check with marketing, and also obviously this is an ongoing effort, but our aim is to be carbon neutral.
That's excellent. And that again is another positive that people don't see. They just assume, oh my goodness me, there goes another top person there, and they're talking about business and look what they're doing. But it's actually they're making a big commitment and a big effort, and I think that's really good. And it shows that out of this crisis, people are moving towards care. So I think that's quite a nice banner, from crisis to care. It makes a lot of sense for everyone. Now, just coming to a close, because I know how busy you are. And your colleague and assistant is reminding us that you've got another appointment, so very, very effective there as well. What would be your message to anybody that was considering taking private aviation as an option who'd never done it before?
I think for me personally, I have a Wall Street background. I came from finance world. I think what I really enjoy about private aviation is it's not only just because I get to negotiate and also have meetings with the most successful people in the world, but I think most importantly is that what I love about my job when I see we have over 100 flights taking off and land every day. I know each of those flights, when they land in a specific location, they bring a huge economic impact from employment and to also the local, to the society locally. I think the number is about $20 million at least, the impact when a private jet lands in a place. So I'm very excited to see that firsthand and to see that effort. So I think, you know, for anyone that was new to private aviation, I think this industry, to me at least, is very exciting. Every day there's something new, and you get to witness the front line of things that are happening. So I think it's exciting, and if you're interested, if this is what you're passionate about, give it a go. It's for me, you know, you never look back.
If I was, and I won't even say how many years younger, I would be straight on there. I'd be looking to get into it. And what I've seen and experienced, I think it's a wonderful sector. It's got huge potential, and I think people don't appreciate how much the owners of the businesses, the senior management and the staff put in to doing so many things right, and so many things the way things should be for customers. And I know that your staff go through a huge amount of training, and also we can't keep mentioning about confidentiality and appreciation and understanding, because I'm sure when people are faced with famous people and powerful people, you know, they can react a little bit differently. So the training is so important. But what you do on a humanitarian side, what you're doing for the environment, I think is exceptional. I think it's a wonderful, wonderful system. It's a wonderful service. Well done to you for leading it. And the US, correct me if I'm wrong, they have about 2/3 of the private jets, or just under 2/3, as opposed to the rest of the world. So it's a big, big market.
Definitely. Thank you very much, Chris. We're very excited, especially for VistaJet in the United States. I'm excited to see the growth, and also this is, like you mentioned, the deepest, by far the largest private aviation market in the world.
Yeah, brilliant. And please tell your marketing people, whoever's in charge of your website and everything. I'm looking forward to having a cost calculator, a little simulation, so I could throw some things in there. But it's very easy to navigate. It's wonderful. And I'd also be very, very pleased to find out a little bit more about the safe havens, because I think that's something that people will really start to focus on. And I'm assuming that you're lining up with equally exclusive locations and venues.
Definitely. I will relay that message to my marketing people about a website. And for our Safe Havens initiative, which was pushed out, this is a product that we're rolling out. We've done it. We've done a lot of work in the background since the pandemic started. And finally, now we provide those specific routes. We're working with very, very exclusive resorts and in specific, very, very exclusive locations around the world. For example, Maldives, and the Africa safaris, to make sure that when our passenger arrive, again, it's about touch points. When they arrive at this location, how they're getting into the resort, how they can enjoy it, and this is their itinerary, and they can, you know, enjoy it. It's still the summertime. People want to have a vacation. We want to make sure that we find a way for them. They can have it the safest way, and at the same time, they don't miss out on the summer.
Yeah, exactly. Maybe that's a topic for another podcast. But I'm sure Sabrina is there looking at you saying, "Come on now, you've got to get Chris off here now. We've got to finish." So please, Leona, thank you so much for everything. Great success, and I love your energy and your enthusiasm. And good luck with everything for the future.
Thank you very much, Chris. Very much enjoyed it. Have a great day.
You too. Thank you.